John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. I'm going to wait for some people here to show up before we really get started. I see 406 resales. How you doing out there? So this is my first live stream, Flippin' Ain't Easy. It's something I wanted to try out. Not sure how it's going to go. We're going to find out here pretty soon. But I'm going to talk about a few things and then also answer your questions as well. Plan on talking about some item specifics. You know, how efficient the current listing process is with item specifics. Some issues with my liquidation pallets, or the one I'm still waiting on, and you know, talk about some things, manage payments, returns, whatever you guys feel like you want to talk about. Rated Forever, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the first live stream for Flippin' Ain't Easy. And Rated Forever, I appreciate the amount of feedback that you provide, and you have a lot of good points that you make, and I appreciate that. So we're just waiting for some people to show up here. I'm streaming on StreamYard, and I don't see, okay, I see we have 6 people that are watching. I'll go ahead and get started here. Item specifics. Videos for life. How you doing? Item specifics. You know, when I'm listing, you know, and I submit my listing to eBay, and I find that it wants me to go back in, and it has all these recommended item specifics. And for me, I don't know if, you know, I'm the kind of person that if it's there and it wants me to fill it out, and every time I click on summary, it's reminding me that, you know, it wants me to fill it out. Somehow I think that eBay has that embedded into their algorithm, and I go back in and I add even if it's NA on everything. And sometimes it just tells me I need one. And sometimes I just need one. And it's usually the fact that I selected that it's not a bundle, but it wants me to tell them the contents of the bundle. It doesn't make any sense. And eBay needs to fix that. I think it would save probably half of my my item specific requests from eBay, and I have to go in and click on it and just put in A every time, and it's somewhat frustrating. 406 resales, dealing with my first FBMP scam complaint. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that, and I can talk to you more on that. Disability positive, happy to see me live. Well, I'm here. I don't know how it's going to work out. We have right now only 10 people on the stream, but I'm sure people are late coming in. A lot of these streams start 4 or 5 minutes in to allow people to come in that may have forgotten. And so I just hope it works out. I hope this is a resource that we can use going forward. I was thinking maybe every 2 weeks we can get together and just chat. You know, sometimes I try to get to a lot of your questions and comments, and usually it's late at night. And a lot of times you have questions that you want dealt with like right away. You can't really wait for someone like me to get back to you. You have to deal with that situation. And by the time I get back to your comment, it's a little too late. So these live streams allow you to at least, you know, get on here. Maybe I don't know the answer. Maybe someone will know the answer. I do a lot of research when I'm not doing videos, because when I get out here in front of the camera, I want to have some kind of idea what I'm dealing with. That and the fact that I deal with a lot of these things on my own all the time. Any scanners come your way recently? Do you mean scammers or scanners? As far as scanners, electronics, I really don't get too many scanners. But if you're meaning scammers, basically, you know, they come and go. Thankfully, lately, I haven't had too many scammers that I've been dealing with. I feel like sometimes when you get a scammer and they send you a message telling you that there's something wrong with the item, if you remind them that we certainly can accept your return, but here are the things that I'm looking for. And if it's not sent back to me in the condition that I sent it into you, you're going to get a 50% refund hit. So that usually ends the conversation right there. Rated forever. I'm always looking for alternatives to eBay to sell on. Well, with that in mind, I have started sending some of my listings over to Mercari. Only have about a handful of listings. I'm using that List Perfectly software, and it just feels like, well, it's faster than going into Mercari and listing them all over again. It's just going through all my items on eBay and again, listing all those over. There has to be a faster way. Anybody knows there's a faster way on List Perfectly to say, I want to take these 400 to 500 items and just move them instantly with 1 or 2 clicks of the mouse. That's what I'm looking for. I really don't want to go through listing by listing. And I realize with Mercari, it has shorter titles, so you have to adjust for that. And I utilize all my title space on eBay, but there just has to be a little bit easier way to get my listings from one platform to the other without taking hours. Randy Buckingham. Hey, John. Hi from Utah. How you doing? Zero and Sora. Scammers. LOL. Yeah, scammers are out there. 406 resales. I sent someone an MP3 player that had shape-conformed foam in a box, and then the box was wrapped in a bubble wrap, and now she's claiming the screen is cracked and didn't power up. Well, I mean, that certainly can happen in shipping. I actually mailed out a convection cooktop, and it was in perfect condition. Tested it out, it worked great, and I packaged it with at least 3 layers of not the small bubble wrap, but the big bubbles, and boxed it up, sent it out, and they claimed that the item was just, the glass was smashed. And they sent me photos, and I don't know how it happened. It certainly seemed like it was packaged well, and I don't get too many complaints about shipping, so who knows? Maybe something smashed it. Maybe, someone dropped it, or who knows what, but it happens. But I wouldn't write that off as a scam, though. I wouldn't, not necessarily, unless something just doesn't make sense through your communication with the customer. She says it only works with their charger, which I tested everything 4 days ago when shipped. Yeah, it's possible. Lisa Morris. Hi, John. I'm battling 2 scammers. One is really working like a pro, even setting up fake opening pics. Wow. That's an odd one, for a customer to either video or photograph them opening up the item. It doesn't make sense. That's not normal behavior. The bargain effect. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Hello, how are you doing? Well, we're about 8 minutes into the live stream, and I think the point of this is not to sit here and read every comment. I'll try to read your questions as they come through. I want to know from you all, though, item specifics. Do you go through and list all the item specifics or fill in all the item specifics when you're doing a listing? Or do you just see, what I do is I go in, find the similar item that's sold. I go in and sell one like this, and I'm hopeful that they've filled out much of those item specifics. Now, if there's some things that are missing, like one person I piggybacked off of after I got about halfway through, I noticed they NA'd everything, which I don't understand why you would do that. Some of the information was quite obvious, but they just went through and just NA'd everything. I don't think that's productive at all. But hopefully, when I'm clicking on some of these listings to use, it'll have a lot of the item specifics set up for me, so that if I see anything that's just glaring that needs to be filled in, I'll go in and do that. Otherwise, right now I'm trying to fill everything in, but I'm wondering if I just go in and just leave it the way they left it, fill in my price, add my photos, add my description, my weighting, my dimensions, and then just send it off. That'll probably save me about 5 minutes, because a lot of times I'm dealing with stuff I'm not personally familiar with. These liquidation pallets have stuff I've never used before, so I have to go and do research. How many watts something happens to be, what is the sometimes the dimensions. I skip those. I'll put NA there, because really, if we go through and measure every item that we're selling, unless we're dealing with clothing, that makes sense. But for me, kitchen appliances and things like that. I just don't want to take the time to have to go and measure everything and weigh everything. Sometimes it asks for weight. So I just want your all's opinion as to how do you handle this? Does it affect your sales? Are your sales slower when you don't complete all the item specifics, or does it just not make a difference? That's what I want to know. That'll help me tremendously. I'm sure it'll help others tremendously. Just trying to figure out this eBay algorithm and how it's affected by that. Let's see, Eric Crawford, yes, sell similar and just do require to make sure that they're correct, but not the whole shebang. What you're describing is the way. Okay, but what I'm describing is probably the way that I should be doing it, but it's not what I have been doing. And I'm to the point where I see it in my summary and I'm like, okay, eBay wants me to do something here. So I go in and fill it out, and it's just taking a lot of time. Rated forever. I always fill in the item specifics myself. If it's the same category, then I'll choose sell similar and change anything else I need to. Randy Buckingham. Yes, we do put in item specifics, but a lot of the time, 70% don't apply. Takes too much time to enter in all those. And that's the thing. I just think eBay is creating a lot of work for us sellers. I think by virtue of putting in the UPC code, they sometimes assign that for you, but there has to be a better way. And I understand why they're doing it. It's just creating a lot of work for everyone. Rated forever says makes no difference to my sales. So maybe I should just go in, do the best I can first time around. And if I'm missing, you know, that whole bundle thing, if I select no and it still wants to know what's in the bundle, which makes no sense, just leave it alone and move on. Mario Martinez, how you doing? I fill everything to the best of my ability, and I think most people do. I think it makes more of a difference if you're dealing with clothing, because people use that filter on the left side to filter down, you know, the size, the color, the brand, that sort of thing. So anything above and beyond those things for clothing, I really don't see, you know, what the benefit would be. You know, you have to think of yourself as a buyer when you're selling on eBay, and what item specifics do you think you would search for when looking for that item? And I just have to get out of this mindset where everything has to be perfect. And that's the biggest flaw that I have, is because I'm always trying to do things better, and I get myself into problems, and I lose efficiency that way. I think we all do if we get into that kind of mindset. On another topic, liquidation pallets. I've been wanting to show you this liquidation pallet that I'm getting from B-Stock, but they're taking their sweet time. And it's through Costco. And Costco, you know, I paid them about $350 for them to ship it from California to Nevada, and it shouldn't take 3 weeks. You know, it's been now over 3 weeks. They tell me it's going to be here on the 1st, which is Monday, and I have not received any correspondence from the freight carrier. So, you know, the goal is I'm not going to do a live stream. I'm going to do a video to do an unboxing so that we make it somewhat interesting. I know a lot of times these live streams can be really slow and boring if you don't have a lot of content from that. And the goal is to allow people to see some of the product that I source and give you ideas on sourcing. You know, a lot of you do yard sales, a lot of you do thrift stores, and there's a few of you that may do liquidation, but maybe you're looking for a different source, B-Stock, Costco, and just get different ideas. I think that's why we all come on to YouTube to do some research, to watch videos, is to try to understand maybe how to do something better, or to find out what this person's doing and to give you ideas to get better and more efficient. Eric Crawford, got to run. You have a good channel. I'll keep following and check in. Okay, appreciate that, Eric. Mario Martinez, when selling vinyl, you need to be correct on the listing. I did have some records that came into my pallets, and they're in pretty good condition. These are customer returns, and you know, I don't have a record player to test these on, you know, see if they skip or not, but you can tell and check for scratches and, you know, sell by conditions. I've never had one record come back with a problem, so that's good. Mike Boyamine, hopefully I said that right. Hi, John. Hope you are well. I'm writing this comment to inquire your thoughts on memorabilia on eBay, more specifically Austin Powers memorabilia. I love Austin Powers, gold member, Spy Who Shagged Me, And I love comedies, stupid slapstick comedies myself. And I honestly don't know a whole lot about that. If there's anybody in the chat that knows about the memorabilia and how it sells on eBay, I would think most memorabilia sells well. Sorry about that. Okay, so pallets in general, I bought a pallet, a 7,500 MSRP from liquidation.com for 385 bucks, and it had, after I listed the first 5 or 6 items, was paid for. And while there's some stuff in there you probably would never sell on eBay, but you can lot it together and create maybe a liquidation lot of some sort, a resale lot. You never know why people are buying lots of goods, but that's my plan with some of these items. Maybe a 12 by 12 by 24 box, something like that, and sell a big lot of items that I'm not planning on selling. James W., most anything sells. It's just a question of how long it might take. So that's right. There's items that I've had in my store for a year, and out of the blue, I get a notification that it sells, and it's like, wow. So with what I'm selling, customer returns, that item sold once to someone already. So it was returned for whatever reason, but it was desirable enough the first time for them to buy that item. So as long as it makes sense, after your shipping, after your cost of goods are recovered, if you're making something, then it's okay to list. I see sometimes people are listing things and it's like, how are you making any money? After you ship this out, you can look at the solds on eBay and you can go through various items. You can put a random item in and see how it's sold. And usually 1 or 2 items will come across where it's like you scratch your head and, maybe that was an auction that sold for $1 plus shipping, but you might as well just throw that in the trash. It's, why are you even bothering with it? Me too, wish all buyers were sane and rational. That's unfortunate. Most buyers are not. Well, most buyers are. Some buyers are not sane and rational, and that's what it seems like when you deal with 1 or 2 bad buyers. It almost feels like all of them are that way, but really they're not. And it was the same situation. I had 26 years working in the call center industry and taking calls from people, and most of the day everything would be fine. You get that one person on the phone that was just out there, and it just made you sort of wonder about everyone else. But I can tell you most customers are honest and good people. Let's see. James W. sold a Christmas ornament this morning. That's interesting. A lot of people, they buy these ornaments after Christmas to get a good deal. Maybe you gave them a good deal, but it's very, very odd to sell Christmas goods in January. But then again, there's people who keep their lights up all year long too. So let's see. Rated Forever. Lisa Morris, I always think of it from the seller's point of view, as I'm also a seller and I know how it feels. Yes, you always want us to approach this game of selling on eBay as a buyer. And, think of what you would want to see as a buyer when you're creating your listings. Arving Sales, are you still having issues with Fedex overcharging 2 to 3 times the quoted price? I am. I've started using the dim weight calculator when I'm actually running my label. And what I'll do is I'll go in and plug in their suggested weight for my dimensions, because my dimensions aren't going to change. I've never had a discrepancy with Fedex with the dimensions. It's always been the weight. So you plug in those dimensions, you plug in your current weight, it'll tell you the suggested weight or the weight they're going to bill at, and you plug that into eBay. So that way you can get the eBay discount based on the dim weight, and they're not adjusting. See, what'll happen is FedEx will go in and readjust that price to the retail price, not the price that they've negotiated with eBay. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. And so it's something I've just begun to do. I am dealing with about a dozen cases where I'm being overcharged. I have to report that. But I've read somewhere where a lot of those requests that eBay puts in on your behalf are being rejected. And that's, again, I have a big problem with eBay, offering a price And how are they coming up with that calculation? How is eBay telling you something's $10 when FedEx is going to tell you it's 20? And I want eBay to change that so they're on the same page with FedEx. That's all I'm saying. Nathan Hale, think eBay will ever get their act together with all these crazy FedEx shipping estimated price discrepancies? I think they would get it together once the right people are aware it's a big problem. I think that people within eBay know it's a big problem, but the right people higher up probably aren't aware. I would assure you, if someone approached the CEO of eBay and told them how big of a problem this was, it would probably lead them to have the right people in eBay fix it in a matter of weeks. But that's my experience in the corporate world. You have to have the people controlling the money because it all costs money. These fixes cost money. And it's something that they have to go in and assess, is this worth investing in? And what's the return to eBay if we invest in it? And right now, eBay doesn't care. There's no money coming out of their pocket for you paying extra to FedEx. JZZN Products, I always love the customers that blame you for the delays USPS shipments, demanding their money back, refunding them, and still keeping the items after it arrives. Yeah, unfortunately, most people are honest, but some people are not going to go out of their way to return an item when they feel it wasn't their fault. A lot of people out there feel like, well, hey, maybe next time you need to deliver it to me on time. They don't think or care that we have no control over that situation. Let's see. Pool 141. How can some people sell items at $350 with free shipping? Well, the only thing I can say is if they're selling it for $350 with free shipping, they're selling media like records or CDs, that type of thing. Maybe after the fees, they're making 50 cents. And I know it's like $2.89, I think, for most media mail, small media mail items. Arving Sales, do you have that shipping issue with all? No, not UPS doesn't give me that problem. Now, I've only shipped about, over the last 90 days, maybe 5 to 10 items with UPS, but really, I've never heard of that being a problem. So, and I've also been told that they use a dim weighting formula. And the crazy thing about the whole FedEx thing is when you take the package to FedEx and explain to the employees what's going on, they look at you like, how are you even coming up with a different price? Because they're weighing the items there for me. They're giving me a receipt that shows me the weight and I request that receipt with the weight. And I think you have to do that when you're dropping it off at the FedEx Kinko's facility. But it's a problem. It's like their employees aren't in touch with the people that are actually billing you, and it's just all off, and they need to fix it. And I think it's more on eBay side than FedEx. JZZN Products, UPS and FedEx are great. I use them more expensive and heavier items. Yes, if you try to ship a heavy item on USPS, it's going to cost you a fortune. And so UPS and FedEx are great alternatives to shipping large items. It's not going to cost you as much. And just the problem is the dependability. The pricing for FedEx. With USPS, the dependability is not there. We all experienced the fact around Christmas, a lot of our packages went missing. I still have a guy waiting for some kind of a tool he bought from me, and he's been very patient. But the guy ordered it like the middle of December, and he opened a case with eBay. They're giving him a runaround 10 days that he has to wait. And for me, I was going to go and just say, you know what, here's your money back. I felt bad for the guy. And normally I don't do that, but I felt really bad for the guy. And because he opened a case, took that option away from me from even doing that. Rated Forever. When it comes to choosing the shipping time, I always choose the longest shipping time so that the buyer doesn't complain that the item doesn't arrive on the expected delivery date. Now, when you're choosing the shipping time, you're referring to when you're creating the listing, you're charging the customer shipping, and you're putting in the longest shipping time option based on that, or when you actually run the label. Maybe you can clarify on that. James W. eBay still updates the buyer with the correct estimate as soon as you buy a label. Well, That's the problem. If I sell a $20 item that's, say, 10 pounds, and they're going to pay, eBay says that with their label, it's going to cost them 20 bucks. And I receive that 20 bucks in shipping from the customer. I apply it towards that FedEx label, and then the label costs 35. It's wiped out anything I've made on the sale, and the customer didn't pay the correct amount of shipping. That's the biggest problem, I think, because as sellers, we only want to recoup what it's going to cost us to sell the item. So what's the point of even offering or charging the customer shipping if eBay is not going to set up a situation where we're collecting the correct amount? Let's see. KSXHXUD Madrano. China has a deal with the US for special shipping rates, like 10 cents or some ridiculous number that we can't compete with. And I know that that's something that they were working on trying to get rid of the last few years. It never happened, but I think that's it's certainly a disadvantage that we have. A lot of the stuff comes from China anyway that we sell. And unless you're, into vintage or you're crafting or something like that. But a lot of the products that we sell in the United States come from China. And, if we're competing with the same product that's being shipped from China, we can't beat that. Rated forever. So when I create a listing, I go down the list and find the longest time on there, which is usually 11 to 25 days. And that's probably a good option or an idea to do around the holidays. I don't have problems with shipping times or people not receiving their packages the other 10 months out of the year. It's always November and December when I have problems with that. And hopefully we're past that now. We don't have to worry about it for another 9 to 10 months. But that is good advice for those of you who don't want to deal with that thing. Also, extend your handling time by a few days. But the problem with that is I fear that it's going to hurt the algorithm, because eBay wants to reward folks that are on their shipping same day, then 1 day, then 2 day, and so forth. James W., you would be better off and get more sales if you just mark the listing with the correct one. The correct one. You mean the correct shipping option? And some people don't buy labels on eBay, rated forever. They go directly to the post office. The problem with that is you're paying retail rates. eBay has negotiated with the USPS to give you, with your top rated seller discount, to give you good rates. Also, another option too, what I like to do when I'm shipping, let's say I have a fairly decent sized item. I know it's not big enough for FedEx, and the price that I'm getting on eBay labels for USPS is a little on the high side. I'll go on to Pirate Ship and use the cubic shipping, and I'll plug it in as a box with the same dimensions, same weight, and a lot of times it'll come back at a lower price. That's something that you guys can try as well. And that is for USPS labels. Does not work. Pirate Ship does not work for FedEx or UPS, that type of thing. Okay, Rated Forever lives in Canada, so they ship through Canada Post. Do they not have anything like Pirate Ship, or does eBay not negotiate with Canada Post for discounted labels? That's interesting that if they didn't do that. Mister, if eBay gave me a deadline to join managed payments and I still haven't done it, can I still get paid through PayPal? From my understanding, what happens is if you do not meet the deadline to enroll, your money is pretty much frozen with eBay. And I've heard people say that eBay's been holding on to their money for weeks. And even after they've finally enrolled, it takes a little while for that money to show up, because when you go on and enroll, it doesn't automatically enroll you into managed payments. Somebody in the back office or whatever they do has to go in, set it up, set your account up. That's why when we were moved over last year, my other account was moved over last year, and I enrolled on a certain date and it wasn't available for another week. And by not complying with their deadline, it's going to mess you up. It's going to turn a seamless process into one that is going to seem like there's an issue. Let's see. So, and talking about managed payments, the last video I made, it was just to discuss some of the things that I continually see on some of my older videos and questions I continue to get. And that was the whole purpose of that video. There's many things out there that were a lot of just normal users just don't know about managed payments. And I think that's because eBay didn't do a very good job in communicating the ins and outs. Maybe putting some kind of a message out there, a Q&A message out there to all sellers to say, hey, here's what's going to happen. Here's the differences, instead of making us sort of find out on our own. KXH, when you see USPS is dragging its feet on shipping, you need to reach out to your customer and let them know you care and are monitoring your item. Never had a problem when it takes months. See, that's the key. And it's all about providing customer service. There's so many sellers. I bought something on eBay a few months back. They sent me the wrong model of what I bought. And while what they sent me was doable, I made it work. At first, I sent them a message saying, hey, do you want me to send this back? Do you want to exchange it? Because it isn't what I ordered. And I heard nothing back from this seller. And this is a big seller. And probably they're so overwhelmed with listing and shipping that customer service is on the back burner. But I got to tell you guys, a lot of times you're not going to get repeat customers in most cases, in most stores, but it's still good eBay business to communicate with your customers, so you're not dealing with return headaches. You're not dealing with upset customers who, may want to know where their item is, and they're now sending you a message. And instead, you should be proactive, realizing there's a delay, and send them a message. It's going to be night and day. You'll have less problems, I promise you, if you are proactive with your customers. Ricardo, hopefully I can see your message before it goes too high. Congratulations, John, on your first live feed. What were some of the high-level pluses and minuses when you transitioned to managed payments? I received the dreaded eBay mail to switch and end. Well, for me, it was seamless. I was worried about not having the money. See, what I did in 2019, before I switched in September of 2019. But before then, I was accumulating all my funds in my PayPal account. And it was nice going from $5,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 in that account, and then transferring money however I wanted to transfer it. But now I don't get to play that game anymore. It gets sent. I have it set for daily, and I probably should set it up for weekly because I don't need the money. I just haven't messed with it yet. But as far as the highs and lows, I would say I had a situation where I had a $1,200. It was a server that I shipped out to a customer, and they said nothing to me after 30 days. I thought, okay, great. It's a brand new. I didn't get a chance to test it because I have no way to test the server. But they filed a chargeback within 60 days, like just before the 60th day, they filed a chargeback. And so I fought that thing, and it took me couple hours to get all the documentation together, all the photos, send it into eBay to fight this case. And I was really freaking out for a while, thinking, that's $1,200 gone on the sale. And turned out that eBay fought for me. So that was a high. It was a low that turned into a high. And thankfully, eBay went to bat for me. I've heard some good stories in some of my comments from those of you who have had similar experiences. And eBay does try to fight for you. And that's something. Now with PayPal, I've had instances with PayPal where it's like we'll do what we can, but it's not likely you're going to win this case. And I've lost a couple cases on PayPal. So I can't really say that PayPal is any better in that regard. Mario Martinez, with the current economic situation or crisis, more and more people are selling. eBay and Amazon love that. No risk for them. Right. The more people that get on their platform, the more money they make in fees. So of course they like that. But I got to tell you, for those of you who supplement your income or are like me, this is your full-time business, it's only a good thing that, it's a silver lining what happened last year in 2020, with this whole pandemic. It has conditioned people to get on their computer instead of making that trip to the mall or making that trip to the store. They get on their computer and now they're buying more than they ever have. And right now is the best time to be selling, I think. Between now and June, I think sales are going to be great. We're going to enter into the summer months, which always happens unless you have certain items that never are affected by season. But most of us sellers are going to see a slowdown sometime in the summer, and then in the fall, it'll pick up back again. And especially in the fall, if the kids are allowed to go back to school, and that, you have kids buying new clothes for school, accessories, laptops, things like that, I think it'll be a big hit. Let's see. What made you pick your lights over ring lights? That's Loud Gadget. Well, are you talking about the lighting that I use for my photos? I think they work great. And ring lights to me just don't seem powerful enough. And even these lights, these LED lights, I have one on each side in my lighting area. I incorporated one of these lights I showed you in a previous video, the lights that have the arm, and I think they're great. If I don't feel like I have enough light in a photo, I'll just slide that thing over and position it however I want, and it provides with a little additional light. And I think it makes a big difference. I remove the background anyway, but it really makes that product stand out. But I don't want as much light when I'm maybe taking a photo of a black item because it washes the black out. So then I'll pull it back. Let's see. And those lights, by the way, aren't very expensive. I think you get a 3-pack of those LED lights for $60 on Amazon. And we bought 2 sets, one for the photo booth that we use for clothing, and the other one we use here for the other products that we sell. Let's see, KSH has asked, do you use the send offer option much? So if I'm a big proponent of going in, seeing what your summary says, in your seller hub, and if it wants me to fix the item specifics, I'll mess with that. I probably won't from here on out. But it'll also say send offers to watchers. And I have a spiel that I have already set up in a notepad on my computer. I'll just copy it and I will paste it into the little message box. And I figure in 10% is what I'll figure in. Actually, 5% is what I'll figure in. I will only discount that item by 5% because honestly, I don't care if that person buys the item or not. What I know happens is when you send offers to watchers, it gives your item a boost in search. There's been many times that I've offered a discount to somebody on an item that's been sitting there. It's been months in my store. Someone happens to watch it. I'll send them an offer, 5% off. And then within a day or two, or sometimes within hours, it sells. And I'm like, oh, cool, they took the offer. I'll check out the price and it's someone else. And they bought it at full price. So for that reason and that reason alone, I use best offer whenever I can. Now, as far as, no, well, that's not best offer, offer to watchers. But best offer I do not have set up right now. It's something I will consider, but honestly, I don't want to turn my eBay experience into Mercari, even though I'm trying to put items onto Mercari right now. I feel like whenever I get offers from watchers, about half the time, people want to really lowball you. And I really don't want to deal with customers like that. Chances are someone that wants to haggle with you is someone that's probably going to want to nitpick your item and maybe want to return it when they receive it. So I have not had any bad experiences since I've turned it off. eBay has been less stressful since I've turned it off. And so for that, I'm going to keep it turned off. Unless you guys see something, you experience better sales with it on. I'm sure you do, but my margins are pretty wide. I think I can afford to turn it on and negotiate. I just don't want to right now. James sends offers 3 times a day. I send it in the morning. I send whatever I have on that list in the morning, and at night I'll send, and it's usually between 10 and 30 offers at a time. So like I said, I have my little notepad set up, and my notepad says, here is your chance to get a great deal on this item. We're offering a steep discount to only a limited number of interested buyers. We have a very limited quantity of these, and once they're gone, the sale is over. Don't miss out. And so that's the message that goes out, whether there's one watcher or 10 watchers, that's the message everyone gets. And it creates a sense of urgency to the customer that, oh man, I may not be the only one watching this item, and he is giving a discount, maybe I'll grab it. But again, I don't do the offer to watcher for that reason. I like the fact that it gives me a boost in search. Nathan Hale, so do you do any thrifting garage sales, or are you strictly pallet and liquidation? I've noticed the competition last year or so has at least tripled or more. Well, when I first started, I was doing everything. I did thrifting. We did a couple garage sales. We did Ross, Marshalls, looking at clearance items. We started doing all that stuff. And it's funny, looking at my Facebook feed, I noticed that when I first started doing this full time, I was so proud of myself. I had photos, of myself in front of my merchandise that I just bought at Ross or, Marshalls. And I look back at that now, and it's like, wow, how did I even think that was great stuff? It really wasn't. And, I didn't really find that I was finding good stuff to resell until I got into liquidation. And that's where I really started to make progress, making more money on eBay, is once I started getting the liquidation. And yeah, you're right. Because of these shows that popped up on A&E or whatever it is about your liquidators, and I forgot the name of the actual show, but it's especially now that people are out of work, it's maybe made people think, hey, I can do this too. But they don't tell you the whole story on those shows. They don't tell you that you have to go and test these items. They don't tell you that a lot of these items you get in liquidation, customer returns, maybe don't have all the parts. You have to sell it as parts or repair, or part it out. They don't tell you that that the MSRP on this item is $100, but it's only selling for 50 on eBay. And I think that people get caught up into that. They don't do their homework, and they lose money, and they spend too much on pallets. That's why I've come up, many of you have seen my video, I hope you have. It's that 40-40 model, where it keeps me from falling in love with the product, because I know how much I want to spend based on the MSRP. And I know MSRPs don't mean a whole lot, but at least it's something to work with. And I know that I'm not overspending for that pallet. I'll let other people do that. I know that in doing so, I have a wide margin. I can deduct something 10, 20, 30% if I need to on eBay, and it'll sell, and I'll still make money on that. Land Shark Picker, good afternoon. How you doing? Leith Bowden, 90% of my sales are full price. I have offers on most are just junk offers. Yeah. That $50 item that you're selling, and you get an offer for $10. I mean, where do you go with that? Do you really think you're going to get anywhere near what you're asking for? Probably not. And unless it's something that's been sitting in my store for a long time, I don't want to mess with dealing with that customer. I will probably not even respond. That's why I turned the whole thing off, because half the offers I was getting was just ridiculous, and I just didn't want to bother with it. Rated Forever. If eBay made purchasing on eBay where no more purchases can be made until their latest items are paid for, then I would consider auctions, best offers, and send offers to watchers. And that is probably my biggest pet peeve with eBay, is it just doesn't make sense why they allow us to make offers to watchers, and this person gets days to pay, yet the person who's paying full price has to pay for it right away. And I know what it is. Again, it's what I was telling you guys earlier. It costs money to make that implementation on the eBay platform. It may seem like a simple fix to us, but it costs money. You have to pay out to programmers. You have to design it so that there's no bugs. It has to interface with the current software on eBay. And the problem with that is they don't see a return. So eBay, they're money hungry. It's the bottom line. Nothing they do is... Everything they do, for that matter, gives them a return. They won't do anything unless they get a lot of backlash from us. And there's a lot of other channels talking about this as well, that they need to implement this. They'll go through the expense and the trouble to give us a nice celebration day. I just wish they'd take that same effort and those same resources and say, you know what, we're gonna do away with this whole celebration concept, and we're going to use these funds to fix these problems that you're experiencing to make your experience as a seller better on this platform. That's what I want. And I'm sure many of you all agree. I mean, celebration doesn't mean anything. They sent me a couple shot glasses that, you know, what am I going to do? I don't even drink. So what's the point of that? KSH, are there any types of items you won't sell, even if it brings a large profit? Huge items I do not like. I hate huge items. I was to the point, I think earlier last year, actually in the summer, I couldn't find any. The sourcing was more difficult because more people were going to liquidation pallets, and you know they had no yard sale to go to. They had no thrift store at the time when everything was pretty much shut down. So they were still doing liquidation. So more people were going to liquidation, driving up my prices. And the only thing that I could find that was working for me were these miscellaneous pallets. And I had bought this pallet on liquidation.com, and it said MSRP was like $8,000. And it looked like there was 4 or 5 huge boxes in there. But I thought these boxes were filled with merchandise. It was not a manifested lot. And I go and pick it up, and these are large water heaters, you know, $500 to $1,500 water heaters. And I was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? And thankfully I sold them and I made some money off of that lot, but it's a headache. You know, I mean, I probably my back was messed up for a little while just lifting those things. If I could avoid one item, and it's kind of a wide swath of items, it's large items I do not like to deal with. Let's see, Ricardo Irajoyan, I probably butchered your name, I apologize. Have you had any problems shipping to international customers? With global shipping, the global shipping program that eBay offers, where you ship it over to Kentucky, I have had one issue, and for a while it made me turn off of the global shipping program. Number one problem that really frustrates me is eBay wants us to use this program, but they won't tell us where we're sending it to, what country we're sending it to. So for instance, I send an item to Erlanger, Kentucky, they get it and they charge the customer who knows what to ship to who knows where. And I get a complaint from the customer saying, hey, this item, it was a Microsoft Surface tablet. It worked great. It looked brand new. And they said, we used it for 4 days. It worked perfectly. And then it stopped working. And, you know, it was a $400 item. And, you know, I'm like, well, I don't warranty the item. I don't know if you dropped this in water. I don't know what you did. It was working perfectly for you. And, you know, have you troubleshooted? Have you did this? Have you done that? But yet they opened a return case. So what happens is I have to eat the shipping for that country. I still don't know where they're shipping it from, but eBay sends me a bill to pay for that label, or actually they want me to go and buy a label for it. So I have to ask the customer where they're at, find out where their address is. And I also have to recoup the customer for the money they sent to global shipping for the outbound portion of the label. And it's like, you know what? I turned it off for a few months, but I haven't had any problems since turning it back on. Be careful shipping to Latin America. Lots of corruption there. Well, you have corruption all over the place, unfortunately. Marsha Clark. Hopefully not the Marsha Clark from the O.J. Simpson trial, but I'll read your question anyway. I'm not afraid of large items. I freight, but most of the time use Greyhound for shipping. Greyhound for shipping large items? Items such as a dresser, storage trunk. Does Greyhound provide a service like that? I didn't know. You could tell the county by looking up the country code and the address line. Yeah, but at that time, I don't know if something's changed, but at that time when dealing with global shipping, it never told you you see the Erlanger, Kentucky address is on your label, but you have no idea what country that's being shipped to. I don't think that's changed though. Eugene Visaki, thank you for the info on judging from the flag on your wall. Thank you for your service. Well, that's not my service. Unfortunately, that's my father's flag. He passed away about a year ago on Valentine's Day of 2020. We think from COVID, but it was such a new thing at that time. They didn't know what that was, so they diagnosed something totally different. And that's the flag that I was given at his service. And underneath that, you have the bullet casings and the gloves used at the ceremony. As it happens, my son is an honor guard in the National Guard, and he actually did the service for my dad, and that was quite awesome. And we kept the gloves and the bullets for that. So, but thank you. I appreciate that sentiment and that allowing me to tell you that story. Let's see. eBliss reseller. Our clients all use GSP and find that typically 20% of their total sales come from that. Not bad. Yeah, that's why I turned it back on, because my sales did drop a little bit as a result of turning it off. And I think that's something as a seller, you just have to learn that this is part of the business. Part of what you do here on eBay is going to end up as a loss, and you just have to deal with that. That's part of running any business. And for some, it's unsettling. You don't want to see that return request. You don't want to deal with that scammer, and you don't want to pay for return shipping on something works perfectly fine. But at the end of the day, if you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing on eBay the right way, that's just going to be a drop in the bucket. And at the end of the year, you're going to look at your money that you made. Could be thousands, it could be hundreds, but that one transaction is not going to impact your experience on eBay for that entire year, providing you're doing the things you're supposed to be doing. Now, if you're shipping out items are broken, if you aren't describing your items very well, if you're not bothering to put any blemishes in the description, then yeah, you probably deserve that. And but I'm talking about the people who do the right thing. If you do the right thing on eBay, those bad experiences are just the cost of doing business, and you have to sort of move on from that. DCB 1138, have you ever had your internet competition try to sabotage your eBay store? I don't. I think that happens more on Amazon. It's really cutthroat. And if you're selling items on Amazon that other people say belong to them or they're the rights owner of, a lot of times they'll shut you down on Amazon for that listing. Also, I had a Vero request, a video a few days ago, I think about a week or two ago, that somebody from Philips said that I infringed on their design, but I was just reselling an item, and this item's on Amazon. You need to go after that person who had that manufactured, not me. I'm just a reseller. I only have one. And I tried reaching back out to eBay because they told me after 5 days they'd let me relist it. And so I'm just curious. It's not a lot. I don't want to waste a lot of time on it, but I also do a lot of these things to provide content to the channel. So I have reached out to eBay. I requested a call back from the trust and safety team and have not received it yet. However, I think at this point, I'm just going to list and see what happens, and it'll provide good, content if they do pull it down again. Let's see. eBay sellers need to. Whoops! I just lost my place. Okay, eBay sellers need to band together with something like a union, without the union dues. Yeah, and the mafia hits. No, that'll never happen. It's just not going to happen. Good idea, but it's just not going to happen. Carolyn A, GSP is very expensive for the purchaser and used to take at least 3 weeks to get to Australia. Yeah, I've had complaints from people who bought GSP and complained to me about the shipping. And I told them, I said, I don't even know where the item's going. And I had to educate them as to my role in that. Deborah JK, no more international shipping for me. Vero parallel import policy violation is 3-day suspension. Yeah, you want to avoid Vero. It's not a fair process. And eBay wants to wash their hands clean of it. They don't want to take any sides. It's safer for them to give you a warning a few times and then finally, suspend or restrict your account. And you're one person in a sea of sellers, so they can care less. Again, it's about money. They don't want money coming out of their pockets. Let's see. Marsha Clark, yes, Greyhound ships. I can tell you how basically you give the buyer the parameters of the item and the buyer's orders a label that they send to you. That's interesting. How are their rates? Are they comparable to FedEx or UPS? And where do you find that out? Is it like greyhound.com? That's really interesting. I know that I used to work for Amtrak for 26 years, and we shipped, it was called Amtrak Express, and you could ship large items. You can even ship somebody's remains, like a funeral homes did that too. And you sent it by rail, and it was handled. So that's not surprising to me in that regard, that Greyhound might do something. But it just seems like that they're not set up quite to handle a lot of packages like maybe a train company or FedEx or UPS might. Yes, Eugene. My dad fought in Vietnam. He made sacrifices, and he was a great man and a great part of our family who is definitely going to be missed. DCB 1138. I shipped $500 item standard to Australia. They claim not received, lost my merch and money, lots of Australian scammers. Well, they're all over the place. Like I said, they're not just limited to Latin America. They're in Australia. They're in Europe. They're all over the place. That scammer that scammed me, tried to scam me out of that $1,200 router. It turned out I had mailed it to Minnesota, and they mailed it to Romania. And the person in Romania tried to scam through the person in Minnesota, and they did the chargeback on their credit card, and they lost. But it comes from all over the world. Yeah, even here in the United States, you get scammers too. It's a big problem for me. I sell high-end vintage Star Wars collectibles, big store, buy my stuff and hold for 29 days, then file returns. It's depressing. Yeah, it is. eBay has this thing where they give the customer 30 days, but how long do you really need as a customer? Yeah, maybe that's sitting on your counter for a few days before you bother opening up the package. But, you really need 30 days to determine if this item is something that, fits the description, or is this the item you want? Mercari, I think they do it right in that regard. You get the item, they want you to share the experience, and there's no returns. If you say, hey, this is what I received, this looks right, you click the button, leave the 5 stars or whatever it is. And if you go out and that item just stops working in 2 days, well, that's on you. And that's a warranty issue at that point. And I think that there's a fine line between something being broken or not as described and a warranty that fails. We have no control over how well these items are made. We're just selling an item that tests out, works fine, brand new sometimes. And that's why Walmart, Target, and all these places have returns. They have return lines around Christmas time. Some of these items, they don't work. They're broken. And, quality control is not something that we should have to deal with as sellers, as far as I'm concerned. Leith Bowden, I worked Amtrak for 10 years, OBS, onboard services. Yes, I worked in the call center, and so did my wife. We worked in the call center, and we dealt with a lot of people on the trains. That was a great part about working at Amtrak, is riding the trains for free on the pass. That was pretty nice. Let's see. Yeah. So this was a good live stream. We're creeping here up on the hour. Right now it's 3 o'clock where I'm at, and it's 6 o'clock Eastern. I want to thank you guys. This turned out to be a really successful live stream. We have 51 people watching. Please check out my channel if you haven't yet. We talk about various things regarding policies, eBay issues, things that a lot of channels may just sort of gloss over. And, sometimes I come off as a complainer, and I get a lot of that flack, but it's really, these are things that bother me, and I feel passionate about what I do, and I want things to go well because I want to succeed and I want to help others succeed. That's what this channel is about. So, consider subscribing. I come out with videos about twice every week, and please send me, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, anything that can help make this channel better, please consider sending me an email, flippinaintEasy2020@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. So thank you guys. I appreciate the time. Thank you so much. It's an honor to host this live stream and to have you guys spend your weekend, at least an hour of it, with me. And for that, I'm grateful. So thank you. And just know one thing, guys, flipping ain't easy. And we'll talk to you guys soon.